Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about R-Truth or Ron Killings. He just came right back to the WWE after supposedly being released and or not renewing his contract when the word got out. And he showed up at Money in the Bank to take out John Cena and have the tag team of Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso win their tag team match against John Cena and Logan Paul. Who knew in 2025 we will have the greatest of all time, John Cena, on his last run in WWE as the WWE champion, teaming up with a YouTuber, aka Logan Paul. And by the way, I do not like Logan Paul on a personal level, but on an athlete level, I will give him flowers and yes, be like, you could hang with the boys, because he is an athlete first and foremost, and that's the only kind of credit that I would give him because of his athletic ability, nothing else. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Square Circle Podcast with your host, Marie Shadows. And I'm going to be very honest. I don't know how much time I'm going to be spending about talking about R-Truth coming back or Ron Killings coming back, but I will go down the timeline because, again, when you're on Twitter, sometimes you have to realize that the wrestling bubble that the dirt sheets created is not the bubble you need to be in 24/7, because obviously dirt sheets get it wrong. Dirt sheets think that they have contacts, but they don't have contacts. We can see how WWE and TKO are moving in terms of who they're allowing into the media scrums, like the post press conferences, we're going to call them mock-ups, because they're sort of like a mock-up sort of like press conference after, big events, after big games. But you can definitely see how WWE is moving in terms of who they're going to be releasing information to, who gets to break news first, and all the dirt sheets online that are in the Twitter bubble, because they really don't go out of the Twitter bubble. They may have a foothold in like Instagram or Reddit or any other social media platform, but they don't stay there. They don't cultivate a very good community. Now, over here in the Square Circle Podcast, I do not like talking about dirt sheets. I don't like to give them the time of day. I don't like to speculate on any of the rumor mills that everybody else likes to follow, because the news in professional wrestling changes at a drop of a dime. It does not matter. You can tell them that they're wrong so many times, but they believe in their delusion that they are 100% completely right, and it doesn't matter who they hurt in the process of releasing information that they should never be releasing, which an example is anytime somebody is out with injury or a medical injury, they somehow end up getting that information, which people have tried to push back on me by saying that, they're not violating HIPAA, they're not violating anyone's rights. Yes, it is. They are. And sometimes I think that wrestling fans, or not wrestling fans, but the way that we ingest social media, the way that information gets leaked out into social media, while you can have a representative that says, hey, such and such athlete is going to be out for a season. Sometimes that information right there, because you can see what happens and you can see the injury. Sometimes after the fact, they may have to be like, oh, well, after the game or after the event, such and such athlete has a sprained ankle, which is not bad. Those are just minor. But to be like, oh, this person is going to have surgery, or this person is going to have this person is going to have that, without actually checking in on the person themselves to get it from the horse's mouth, but somehow manage to get the medical files to be like, this person this, that person that. The only reason why I bring up the medical stuff is because dirt sheets don't give a shit, and they go beyond boundaries. And when you call them out for it, just in general, this is a generalization, when you call them out for it, they don't want to take accountability. So it's the same thing that we've been seeing for years and years and years on Twitter and on social media, that none of these dirt sheets take responsibility for the things that they say. Just recently, Tom Prescott, aka Baron Corbin, called out David Metzler. And how many times have myself and others have called him out, and he still does the same shit over and over and over, as if like he's trapped in a wheel meant for a hamster? So many times. And it takes a wrestler to be like, yo, you really damage professional wrestling. And David Metzler and everybody else damages professional wrestling. In what is supposed to be a celebration of R-Truth or Ron Killings coming back to take out John Cena and hold that WWE Championship title, we should be celebrating that because collectively, as a community, we love R-Truth. No matter if R-Truth gets the good end of the deal, the bad end of the deal, like, we just love him because he does such an amazing job throughout all the years of him being in professional wrestling and doing a lot of different things and bringing smile to people's faces and definitely breaking a bunch of stereotypes and breaking down a bunch of doors for everybody in this industry. And so we should be celebrating that fact. I'm celebrating that fact. And I will admit right here on the Square Circle podcast that I got worked because the initial reaction I had for when R-Truth, the news was going around that WWE released R-Truth, and I thought that was weird. You want to know why I thought that was weird? I thought it was weird because I'm like, we're doing budget cuts now, air quotes with budget cuts. We're doing budget cuts now. Why would you all of a sudden want to release or want to not renew R-Truth's contract? And then prior to that, he had his match with his childhood hero John Cena at Saturday night's main event, and R-Truth came out as Ron Cena to try and get into his head. It was a brilliant storytelling kind of match, and I really enjoyed it. Obviously, at the end, I knew that R-Truth wasn't going to win that match against Cena. However, the fan in me was like, maybe there is a chance that R-Truth can win against Cena, but obviously that's not the case. And then all of a sudden he gets released. Something here is not adding up at all for that to happen. You would think that the other wrestlers that had a match against John Cena to try to take him down will be released as well. Like Randy Orton should have got released if he fought Cena. Like, imagine how much power, and I'm putting air quotes around power. Imagine how much power John Cena has because he aligned himself with The Rock, and whoever he faces and whoever he beats, they all get fired. Like, that would be like an insane storyline to follow, an insane workable storyline to follow, and they all come back and they all attack Cena and they all get their wins against Cena. However, they're all like non-title matches because I do believe now that R-Truth should probably be the one to dethrone Cena. I am not sure who can or who should dethrone Cena. If you guys have any thoughts or ideas on who should the one wrestler be to dethrone Cena and keep that WWE title within the history of WWE, because John Cena says he's going to ruin wrestling, and at the end of his contract, at the end of his last match, he is going to retain that championship title, and WWE would have to make a new championship title to create a new legacy, a new lineage, and the old lineage and legacy will die with Cena. Which, by the way, I am fine with both. I am fine with WWE making a brand new championship title to have a whole new legacy, and I am definitely fine with John Cena taking that WWE championship title home and being the last of the last of the last, because it kind of is the last of the last of the last generation of the crop of wrestlers that came in with John Cena. But again, I asked the question, you guys let me know, leave a comment down below. Who do you think should dethrone John Cena to get that WWE Championship title and keep it within WWE? I think that it's going to be R-Truth, just based on the way that he came in and the way that he attacked Cena using the belt and even holding that championship belt. Maybe we'll get another rematch. Maybe we'll get some clarification later on. But that was done so well. And I popped for it. I was excited for it. I was like, oh my God, that's R-Truth, because I just realized the body size and everything. I was like, yeah, that has to be truth. Like, that makes sense. And yeah, I definitely wanted our truth back. Everybody wanted our truth back. And we should be celebrating that rather than the dirt sheets trying to find from their news sources about all this kind of stuff, and stop believing the dirt sheets. They are not talking to people in WWE that are going to release this information. No one is going to release this information. And then for some reason, the other dirt sheets around, the other news cyclists around on Twitter would go on Instagram and start searching, and as if like they're detectives. So apparently, in the wake of all of this, our truth son, and by the way, this isn't me looking for this kind of content to tell you about this. This is other people on the Twitter timeline and supposed news aggregators that look for this kind of stuff because they know no boundaries. They don't give a shit about people's lives and people's personal stuff. It does not matter if it's on a Instagram story or made it public. Like, at least respect the art of wrestling and respect the lives of kids in wrestling. So our true son put up on Instagram stories, because Instagram stories only stay for like 24 hours, and so he was saying how that our truth, his dad, apparently re-signed a new contract and he's getting the bag. That's what one of the posts has said. And then when somebody at the press conference asked Triple H about our truth coming back, like, that kind of question, and Triple H responded with, it's all part of the show, which it is all part of the show, ladies and gentlemen. Like, come back to being a fan. It's all part of the show. We all got worked in a very good storytelling way. It is okay to admit it. The first step in anything is to admit it. It's okay, admit it. Anyway, so Triple H ends up saying that it's all part of the show, and then his son, our true son, says, stop the cap. And it's like, of course it's all part of the show. Like, how long have you been watching your dad in professional wrestling? Like, almost everything can be part of the show. And it's okay to get worked. This was a very, very good worked. And by the way, for anybody that's new out there, if you're not a wrestling fan or you are a wrestling fan, but you don't know some of the insider terms such as worked. So basically, the word work, WORK, in professional wrestling means that when you are so invested into a particular story and or angle between two wrestlers, or it could be a triple threat, as long as they're two wrestlers, they could be fighting over a belt or fighting over an object. Basically, you are so invested into the story that is happening that you cannot decipher what is real and what is fake. AKA, you cannot decipher what is kayfabe and what is meant to be real life. There are some really good works in the world of professional wrestling that has worked us all. This one right here of R-Truth being released and or not resigning for a new contract, and then the love and frustration poured out, people chanting, we want truth, and R-Truth staying silent for the 6 days apparently he was released from his contract, and then all of a sudden coming back. People on Twitter want you to believe that we made a difference. And while, yes, two things could be true at the same time, that us making noise and or this was already the plan because John Cena is a diabolical genius, and so can Triple H be that too, and everybody in the writer's room, and how wonderful this came together. Two things can be true at the same time. Our Truth's release and the fans uplifting their voices and using their platforms and creating content around our truth and we want truth can be true, as well as WWE already had this plan. Two things could be true. We were all worked, and they love to see the feedback from it, because obviously we know that Truth is very loved. He's very loved in the locker room too. So why are you trying to convince people that we didn't get worked? Yes, we did. We got worked in the storytelling element. Example. Another example is whenever really angry people, commenters, tell me about New Japan Pro Wrestling, that how I'm getting worked by Gabe Kidd, which I'm going to be covering that in the next podcast episode, because there's some things I need to say about that. And that's just another example that people tell me that all of the Gabe Kidd promos that I'm getting worked, that we all got worked and this worked. But you guys don't believe that you got worked by R-Truth coming back and beating up John Cena, because you guys want to cling so bad to be relevant. You guys want to cling so bad to, we have all the insider knowledge, even though you guys don't even step foot into promotions to help out promotions and help out wrestlers. You guys don't do any of the firsthand work that you need to do, but you guys want to claim that you got insider information, but all you do is sit at your chair and basically do what I do, podcasting. The only difference is that I work in the business and I'm happy to help out any wrestlers that I can. I'm happy to give wrestlers a platform to talk to them and interview them, which I will be starting up my interview series back up very soon. It's a very bigger project that I have going on in the background while I'm not doing any kind of content work, such as podcasting and telling you my thoughts about professional wrestling. So look out for that on all of my social media, such as marieshadows.substack.com, which is a free wrestling newsletter, youtube.com/Square Circle Podcast, where I post sometimes on the YouTube community page over there on the Square Circle Podcast. I do have a Discord. You guys can come on into the Discord if you want to. That's where I basically put up more updates to my people on Discord. There is Instagram now, at your fave Marie Shadows, which basically it's URFAV and then Marie Shadows. But yeah, I'm all over, and that is what I've been doing in the background. I say all of this because I know somebody in the comments are going to be like, you do the same thing like they do. But I tend to basically tailor my wrestling content just a little bit different. Just a little bit different from everybody else. The only reason why I'm talking about the R-Truth situation is because sometimes you have to let the dirt sheets and everybody else in the wrestling space, let them know to be humble a little bit, and enjoy the wrestling product. I really enjoyed Worlds Collide, which was a AAA and NXT production partnership, which was amazing. And then I also enjoyed Money in the Bank, which was amazing. Do I think that Seth Rollins needed the Money in the Bank briefcase? No, I don't think he needed that. He could get a title shot at Jey Uso anytime, because both Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins can manipulate Jey Uso into giving them whatever they wanted, because now Jey Uso is in a position where he now has to prove himself. Even though we can say that he doesn't, he really does, because as much as I respect and love Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso, those guys have worked their ass off, and I grew up watching them and see how far they have come and made it into the WWE. However, I really do think that the way that they're booking Jey Uso is not very beneficial for Jey Uso to continue to be the fan favorite and also back it up. He's a very good wrestler. He has it. He really does. It's just that I think the way that they book him and the way that they put him in certain situations, it really does make him seem like the underdog, and that's the story that they're going for. But Jey Uso is so much more than the underdog story. Leave the underdog story to annoying Sami Zayn. Leave it to him. Just leave the underdog story to him, because he's never going to change. He's not going to go above whatever he believes in. He's going to stay in his fucking box, and that is to be annoying and everything that I don't like. And also the underdog story, again, just leave it with Sami Zayn. But Jey Uso does not need to be in that underdog story. Jey Uso does not need to be in a storytelling segment where manipulation gets abused and where anger takes the best of Jey Uso to fall into any trap just because he wants to prove that he is the champion that he believes that he is, but no one else is really there yet. We're there with him, but we're not like 100% solid with him. Now, some fans might disagree with me, which is totally okay. That's not for you guys, but for most of us that are following his journey, we are there with him, but we're not there at his side. That's where I stand with Jey Uso being the world champion. And I get it. You want to put him in all of these match predicaments because you want that title to be the workhorse championship title, which I can respect. But we also have to play it smart for Jey Uso to elevate that title, to make it feel like the workhorse title, and then also make Jey feel like he's more than just the word yeet. He's more than just being the guy that you invite to your house party and you know that he's going to get the party started. We need something more than that, while still in the back of our minds like, yo, this is a good friend. He's awesome. He's great. He just needs a little bit more, and I'm not sure what that is exactly yet. But I do think that depending on the circumstances of the segments that they give him, just needs to be a little bit smarter, because right now it just feels like everybody who grabs a mic and who does a promo against Jey just allows them to say whatever the fuck they want. And then Jey just says very, cut up lines as if like he's gonna battle rap them, and then ends it with like one word, four letters, yeet. And it's like, you are more than that. You're more than just this catchphrase. You can have that catchphrase, but you are way more than this catchphrase. And we could do a lot more with Jey Uso and that championship title belt. Like, to be honest, I think that the match between Gunther and Jey Uso, where Jey was like, you have brought me to another place and I'm going to do terrible things to you, in that match. So after that promo, they got into the match. I believe that was at Saturday night's main event where Jey Uso becomes the champion. I think that that match could deserve a little bit more. I really did want to see a different side of Jey Uso that's a lot more violent, especially when you have someone like Gunther that went after Jimmy and the way that that happened. And we both know that Jimmy and Jey are excellent storytellers. And because they are excellent storytellers, I want to see that different side of them. I don't always want to see the happy-go-lucky, yo, let's start a party kind of guys, the guys that you really, really want to hang out with. I really want to hang out with them. I really want to, be friends with them. But at the same time, in this business where you have a target on your back, whether or not you are champion, you need to have a little bit more, like, eyes on the back of your head. You need to make sure that all of your bases are covered, all your corners are covered, and that if somebody really does cross the line, there's going to be a new vicious side to you that we've never seen before. So that way people know that you're not just the party guy. You're not just the yeet guy or the no yeet guy. And I know people go to wrestling events to have fun and entertainment. And this whole entire thing, this whole podcast is about me talking about we should be celebrating the fun part of wrestling, and we should still do that. But I want more for Jimmy and Jey. I obviously want more for R-Truth. I want to bring it back to R-Truth. And I want more for all the wrestlers that are in WWE. But I understand too that, everything is about timing, and everything is about like who gets to be on these cards, who gets to be on Monday Night Raw, given, the time limit of them being in a 2.5 hour spot, even though they're on Netflix and they could do whatever they want. They could have 4 hours if they want. But, I understand that not everyone is going to get the spotlight just yet, and be transformed into the wrestlers that we want to see. Now, back to R-Truth just for a little bit. R-Truth is fantastic. I'm happy that R-Truth came back. I do not care about what the media says. The wrestling media, I really don't care what they have to say about R-Truth and them scrambling, because they don't know. And ladies and gentlemen, if you are subscribed to any of those dirt sheets, I'm going to let you in on a little secret, and here it goes. They don't care about you. You're just a number and you fill their pockets. When you're here at the Square Circle Podcast, I actually acknowledge you and I remember your name and or characteristics. And I always welcome you if you come into my chat. I always welcome you and also comment with you, talk with you, I should say, whenever you leave a comment, whether that is on youtube.com/Square Circle Podcast or marieshadows.substack.com, which is a free wrestling newsletter, or on Instagram at yourfave, Marie Shadows, or even on a YouTube community post or anywhere that I'm posting. I will engage and interact with you. And by the way, Spotify also has comments. If you are on Spotify, please make sure to use the comment section so that way you can leave your comments, your thoughts, and I will get back to you. But I appreciate every single person that has followed me since 2019 of doing podcasting for professional wrestling, following my journey, hearing my stories of me working for WWE back in 2018, and then now doing this and helping out MLW and helping out wrestling promotions and helping out professional wrestlers and all that kind of stuff. And I really thank you guys for that journey, whether you are a day one fan or a middle fan, or you're just a new fan that just found my podcasting and you agree with me. And it's okay to not agree with me. It's totally okay. But I just want to let you know that here at the Square Circle Podcast, I will remember your name. I will remember your characteristics. I will acknowledge you. And that's not me trying to kiss your ass and trying to be like, yay, me, pick my podcast. No, that's just generally how I go about treating people. I basically be like, hey, what's up? How's it going? Thank you for listening. Thank you for, commenting. I appreciate that. Thanks for having a conversation with me, even if we can't agree to something and find a middle ground. And that's the kind of community that I try to build. And the only time that I'll ask you for payment is to let you know that we have merchandise and that there is a sale running right now for all of the mugs that I have on my website, which is auto applied, Daddy Day for all the dads out there, because it is June. We are celebrating Father's Day. And also the memberships that YouTube has, if you guys want to grab a membership. And I'm going to be adding some more stuff to where you can tip me if you want to tip me, if you just want to just do a one-time thing, if you can't do a commitment, because I am worried about everyone's budget. And the only reason why I'm bringing this up is to let you know that that is out there. Those options are out there. And I am very appreciative of everybody that comes on through to listen and support. So I love you guys. And again, dirt sheets don't care about you. Dirt sheets just care about how many clicks they could get, how much ad revenue they could get in pennies, and that's about it. They really don't know who you are. Even if you give them a super chat, they're really not going to know who you are. There are good people in the wrestling content space that will acknowledge you and that will be so humble and thankful for everything that you do for them on the outside, while we're here on the inside doing everything ourselves, which, by the way, the Square Circle Podcast is produced by me, only me, and it's just me, Marie Shadows, your favorite. So I just want to put that out there. Now, there are some other wrestling topics that I want to talk about, such as, very quickly, Trick Williams becoming the TNA World Heavyweight Champion by defeating Joe Hendry at NXT Battleground 2025. Now, I did not see this coming. I did not think that WWE will have a TNA champion. However, it should have been a DQ because the referee saw how the belt was used. And, the referee has to make a call, didn't make the call, but counted anyway. And Joe Hendry lost the TNA championship title and Trick Williams has it. And I only want to bring it up very briefly because I do have other podcast episodes talking about the AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling partnership, and many people do not like when I talk about it because they want it to make it sound like how they think about it in their head. So if I don't say it correctly and how they're thinking about the AEW New Japan partnership and they think that everything is all great, that I am the bad guy. Now, because I do it for AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling to talk about the partnership, I want to talk about the partnership of NXT and TNA. By the way, this is a very better and very much healthier partnership. And you can say what you want about, oh, they're just trying to get the next talent and sign the next talent, and that's all they're going to do, taking the talent away. There's a difference because, for an example, Jordan Grace has done everything in TNA. What else can she accomplish? If TNA does not create any more championship titles for the women division specifically, and would not allow Jordan Grace to go after any of the men's title if that ever came up during a creative session. So because Jordan Grace has done everything in TNA, except for like being in a tag team and getting tag team gold, which could have been an avenue to explore. But for the sake of this conversation, what else could Jordan Grace have done? Jordan Grace appearing at WWE was very, very groundbreaking in the first official sort of months of the partnership. That was really groundbreaking. That was really nice. And yeah, she was eventually going to sign with WWE. Why not? WWE is on a very bigger global stage, and it still gives prestige and it still gives knowledge to who TNA is. And thankfully, TNA went back to being TNA, the three letters, total nonstop action, and it just gives a little more legitimacy to this partnership. So if a wrestler has done everything in a promotion and in a specific division, why not let them move up or move on to something better, knowing that there's a new spot that's open in TNA for someone else to take and get a spotlight? This is all about climbing that ladder. And so for Trick to be the TNA champion, that's sort of like a whoa, what are we doing? Because usually I don't like it when it's an AEW wrestler holding a New Japan Pro Wrestling championship title, but at least there has been several months to a year of this partnership building. And the what if a TNA wrestler became a WWE champion, such as the Rula Obafemi versus Moose. Imagine if Moose was carrying a WWE championship title and Oba got dethroned. And no, I don't want to hear any comments about you personally not liking Moose. This has nothing to do with anything personal about him. Just imagine if that were to happen, a TNA star holding a WWE championship title. I just didn't think that the first sort of strike, and I'm using that very, very loosely, to have Trick Williams carry a TNA World Heavyweight Championship title, the biggest title that TNA has, not even any of the other smaller ones. And then to see on the Twitter timeline that Trick is aligning himself with AJ Francis and Casey Navarro. And that's going to be very interesting. That's going to be a very interesting story development, because most people on the timeline consider Trick to be like Hollywood Trick, aka like Hollywood Hogan. And no, again, I don't want to hear any of your moral comments down below. Please don't do it. It's just, we're talking wrestling here and kayfabe and characters and all of that. But for Trick to be this Hollywood Trick and align himself with AJ Francis and Casey Navarro is a very good, interesting story to look into and follow, because it is quite interesting to have a different person have the TNA championship title that's not a TNA wrestler. So all in all, the partnership is going great. And it's very fun to watch. It's very like, what if this, what if that? The same way that they send over the NXT girls over to TNA to get some stories going, to get some hype going, to get maybe a championship title over there, a tag team championship title, to have the NXT girls get their reps in. Because if they can't be fit on the NXT show itself, send them over there. Let them get their reps in. Let them share the spotlight. Let's create wonderful stories. And I think that it is flourishing either way, because people are talking about it. And people are talking about it in a good way, in a way where it's like, oh my God, I didn't expect that. When it comes to AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling, everything that is happening is so obvious. and we are calling it out. Well, I'm calling it out in real time. I'm not here to be like, oh my God, guys, let's focus on the positives because the positives are everything. While the positives need to be focused on as well, how are you going to improve if you don't talk about any of the negatives, if you don't talk about any of the head scratchy moments where it's like, what is this guy doing here? Or what is this happening here? Why is this story here? Did we forget about the other story? Or did we forget about the person that won the trophies in the tournament? Are we not doing anything with that? Where's the story going? And so, as I round up all of this, because the other topics that I'm going to be talking about in the other episodes coming up is definitely going to be Gabe Kidd, everything that I know about Gabe Kidd and him going to AEW and signing with Mox and the Young Bucks and the recent interview that he had talking about Suji, hyping up his match with Suji at Dominion, which is on June 15th, 2025, over in Osaka Joe Hall. And then also Gabe Kidd spitting on Willow. I don't like that kind of action at all. It's the action that I don't like, even though apparently there was no spit there. But I'm just saying the action is not tolerable. But yes, Gabe Kidd gets his own little segment on the Square Circle podcast. The Kyle Fletcher versus Adam Cole spot, because everybody on Twitter wants to be a freaking expert in professional wrestling and how to do moves, and you guys need to like be quiet a little bit more, because it does not matter if Adam Cole's head hit the hardest part of the ring or not. It is the action, and it looks sloppy, and it looks like Kyle is trying to hurt wrestlers when I know that's not his intention. But if you're going to make it look like you're going to hurt wrestlers, I'm going to call it out and be like, bro, you got to stop. I understand that you want to create a sense of realism when you do your moves and have people have this shock face, but that's only going to be for 15 minutes. That's not even going to like last a fucking decade when you're like, oh, I'm done with wrestling or whatever. Like, that's going to last for 15 minutes. Make it look believable while also being safe. Don't make it look like, oh my God, you definitely hurt this guy. 1 second too late and Adam Cole, anything could happen to Adam Cole, because our bodies are fragile, whether you want to believe it or not. So if Kyle continues to do this, I will continue to call it out, and I will continue to talk about the spot and the safety of, you have to be safe when you're wrestling with someone else. You have their life in your hands. Like, that's wrestling 101. I understand that in other parts of the country, it's you either go big or you go home. But this is the United States, where we should be sort of like, hey, I got your life in my hands. Let's have a good match with a good story, and I keep you safe with these moves that I've been trained to do 1,000 times, rather than trying to make it look like, hey, you owe me rent money or something like that, that kind of oomph to it. I have here Mariah made to WWE. I just put a shrugging emoji, and I'm looking at my Discord here because I usually tell the Discord what kind of topics I want to cover. So if you guys want to join the Discord, just be very, very respectful when you join the Discord. That's all I ask. Thekla joining AEW, which I'm disappointed in, but she could do what she wants. And yeah, those were the topics. The other topic is that I have to watch MLW. MLW War Chamber is out, so I will have notes on that. And myself and my tag team partner, Dose Evil, will be on the next live stream talking about it. So join the live stream, pay attention to all social media for when we go live with that. And then Thursday, I have a special guest, Courtney. I have to see if we're still going to be coming together to talk about AEW and the road to All In. And that's going to be live, so I hope you guys join in for that. As for everything else, please stop listening to the dirt sheets and make sure to spend your hard-earned money to original content creators that are creating wonderful wrestling content and other content in the spaces that you guys definitely enjoy. The dirt sheets give you a headache, while other content creators just give you massive love and are super thankful for each and every one of you guys. Like, I'm super thankful for everybody that comes here and listens to me and leaves a comment. And I hope that we can have a good conversation about this, about our truth coming back, about being worked, because I have no problem admitting it. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that is all from me, your host, Marie Shadows, your favorite girl here at the Square Circle Podcast. And again, ladies and gentlemen, you can find me all over social media at Marie_Shadows over on Twitter, over on the Instagram account, Your Fave Marie Shadows. That is URFAV and then Marie Shadows. If you guys enjoy a wrestling newsletter, marieshadows.substack.com. If you guys enjoy Spotify, Square Circle Podcast on Spotify. And if you also enjoy YouTube, youtube.com/Square Circle Podcast. If you enjoy Twitch, twitch.tv/Marie_Shadows. And the Discord and all the links will be down in the description below. If you want to help us out by getting some merch, you can. There is a sale happening right now during June, during Father's Day, and definitely like Father's Day month, like June, for guys. I'm selling mugs. I don't know. That's very, very convincing in this podcast. I haven't done podcasting in a while, so I feel kind of rusty, but I love you guys. And yeah, so all links down in the description below. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Square Circle Podcast with yours truly, Marie Shadows. And I'll see all of you on the next one.